The Cursed Corpse. It was the late 1960s, a time when life in rural villages was simple, but often burdened with poverty. Work was scarce, and families struggled to put food on their tables. In those desperate years, some men began searching for money in ways most people wouldn't even dare to imagine. Among them were three close friends. They were young, restless, and greedy. One of them, sharper than the rest, came with a plan that sounded outrageous, yet profitable. Do you know how much hospitals and medical schools pay for bones and cadavers? He whispered one evening, his eyes glittering with ambition. If we can steal bodies from fresh graves and sell them, we'll never have to worry about money again. The other two froze. The very idea of digging up the dead sent a chill down their spines. "That's madness," one of them muttered. But the first friend leaned closer, his voice cold and persuasive. "Madness or opportunity? The dead don't need their bodies, but we need money." Their hesitation crumbled under the weight of greed. At first, they tried to laugh it off, as if it were just a joke, but the thought sank deeper with each passing day. Poverty pressed against their throats, and the promise of wealth pulled them further toward darkness. By the end of that week, all three had made their decision. They would become grave robbers. Little did they know, that single choice would seal their fate forever. The chance came sooner than expected. Just a few days later in the neighboring village, a man suddenly died. His funeral was held quickly, and by the late afternoon, his body was buried in the village graveyard. When the three friends heard the news, their eyes met with silent agreement. This wasn't their first job, the beginning of their dark business. That night, the village was wrapped in a heavy silence. A thin mist clung to the ground, curling around the bamboo fences and dirt paths. Armed with nothing but a rusted shovel and a dim lantern, the three crept into the graveyard. The lantern's flame flickered with every step, casting twisted shadows across the crooked tombstones. The air smelled of damp earth and wild grass, and every sound the rustle of leaves, the distant cry of a night bird felt like a warning. They reached the fresh grave. The soil was still loose, easy to dig. Without a word, they began. The shovel pierced the earth with a dull thud, over and over, breaking the silence. Sweat dripped from their foreheads, even though the night was cool. With each scoop of dirt, their hearts pounded faster. "Are we really doing this?" one of them whispered. His voice trembled. "Shut up," another hissed. "Just dig faster." Minutes turned into an eternity. Finally, the shovel hit something solid. A muffled thud. The coffin. As they brushed away the soil, a terrible silence settled around them, heavier than before. They pried open the lid just a crack, and in that dim light, they saw it. The corpse's pale face, eyes half shut, lips slightly parted as if still whispering something from the other side. The three froze, unable to breathe. In that instant, it felt as though the dead man's gaze had locked onto them. Before they could move, a voice rang out from beyond the graveyard. "Who's there?" Villagers living nearby had noticed the lantern's glow and come to investigate. The three friends dropped the shovel and lantern in panic. The lantern fell sideways, casting wild shadows that made the corpse's face appear to move. Without looking back, the friends fled into the night, their hearts thundering in terror. The villagers searched briefly, but found nothing but a lantern and fresh soil. They muttered among themselves, convinced it was some foolish prank. The matter was left alone, but the three knew what they had seen. That pale face, those lifeless eyes. It was only the beginning of their nightmare. That night, the three friends tried to sleep, but none of them found peace. Their minds kept replaying the image of that pale face, staring from the coffin. When sleep finally came, it came not as rest, but as horror. Each of them had the same dream. In the dream, the graveyard was alive with a heavy mist. The corpse they had tried to steal stood at the edge of the grave, its body swaying unnaturally. Slowly, it began to walk toward them. Its movements were stiff at first, like a puppet pulled by invisible strings. Then, its bones cracked, its arms twisted, and its entire frame slithered into the form of a serpent. Its eyes glowed red, burning with hatred, and its mouth opened wide with a hiss that echoed like thunder. The three woke up at the same moment, drenched in sweat, hearts pounding. Each of them thought it was only a nightmare until the real horror began. In the corner of one friend's room, A snake coiled silently, its scales glistening in the lantern light. Another woke to find one slithering beneath his bed. The third heard the hiss before he even opened his eyes. At first, they tried to explain it away. Just a coincidence, they told themselves. But it wasn't. The snakes returned night after night, and it didn't stop with them. Their families began seeing them: two snakes in the yard, snakes on the rooftops, snakes in the cooking pots. Everywhere. Villagers started whispering. They said the three had been cursed, that the dead man they disturbed had brought his vengeance upon them. The friends, now terrified and sleepless, gathered in secret. Their faces were pale, their voices broken. "We have to leave this place," one said. "Yes, before it kills us all," another agreed. But the third only shook his head, his eyes filled with despair. "No one escapes a curse. We woke something that should have been left in peace." And as the days passed, their fear grew into certainty. The curse was real, and it was only getting stronger. Weeks turned into months, but the curse never loosened its grip. Snakes haunted them everywhere, in their homes, in the fields, even in their dreams. The villagers avoided them, whispering behind their backs. People said their shadows looked thinner, their eyes sunken, as if the curse itself was draining the life from them. The three friends made desperate plans to escape. "We'll leave this village. We'll go far away where the spirits can't find us," one insisted. Bags were packed, routes were whispered, but every attempt to leave was mysteriously stopped. Illness, accidents, even sudden storms blocking their paths. It was as though something unseen held them within the village boundaries. And then came the night. The very same night, 1 year after they had first dug into the grave. That evening, the air felt unnaturally heavy, as if the entire village held its breath. The moon was full, but clouds veiled its light, drowning the world in a suffocating darkness. The three gathered in one house, trembling. Suddenly, the silence broke with a sound that froze their blood: the hiss of snakes. From every corner of the room, serpents slithered out, black, scaled, endless. Their eyes gleamed like burning coals. One friend screamed as a snake coiled around his leg, sinking its fangs deep into his flesh. Another stumbled back, only to be struck in the neck. The third tried to run, but the floor seemed alive, writhing with serpents that wrapped around his body, pulling him down. Their cries echoed through the night: anguish, terror, and then silence. By morning, the villagers found all three lifeless, their bodies cold and swollen from countless snake bites. No one dared touch them at first. Some claimed they could still hear hissing in the air, though no snakes were found nearby. But before he died, one of the friends had whispered a final confession to his family, voice weak and broken. "We tried to steal the dead, and now the dead have taken us." From that night onward, the graveyard was never the same. People claimed to see a faint lantern's glow flickering among the tombstones at midnight, and the sound of shovels scraping against the earth. Some even swore that if you stayed long enough, you could see three shadowy figures still digging, and behind them, the pale corpse twisting into the shape of a serpent, waiting for anyone foolish enough to disturb its rest. The curse had claimed its price, and it was far from over. Did you enjoy the story? Let us know in the comments. And if you liked it, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to The Horror Dream. Want more stories like this? Subscribe to The Horror Dream, and we'll bring you more darkness, just for you. If you enjoy a little chill down your spine, stick around, like, share, and hit that subscribe button, right here on The Horror Dream. Your support keeps us going, so stay with us. Subscribe to The Horror Dream for more spine-tingling tales.